Welcome to Live Daf, your online Daf Yomi Shir.
Shalom, welcome back to today's Daf, which is YOMA Daf Ches. We are actually 14 lines from the top of the Amud. It says the Gemara, Neima, Hani Tanoi, Kani Tanoi. Yesterday we discussed the Machlekes Tanoim, Machlekes between Rabbi Yehuda, who says, Tuma Hutra B'tzibur. Suppose the kohen is Tamei, he may go ahead and bring that carbon tzibur. There's no hesitation whatsoever. The Torah regards it, in fact, as though it's a carbon tar of the highest degree. Whereas Reb Shimon says, Tuma D'chuya B'tzibur. Tuma poses a very serious concern. However, we overcome it. We overlook it. We push it aside out of necessity. It's really a carbon tummy. It doesn't have the same level as a carbon tar, but Torah says when there's no alternative, better bring a carbon betuma than no carbon at all. So one shita says tuma hutra betzibur, it's completely tar. We have no hesitation with respect to bringing a carbon tzibur betuma, because it's as though it's tahara. Whereas Reb Shimon says tuma d'chuya betzibur, it is a carbon tummy. It doesn't have the same level, doesn't achieve the same level, same amount of accomplishment as a carbon tahara, but the Torah says better that than nothing. But certainly we need to try to avoid it, if possible. Says the Gemara 14 lines from the top, Neima, perhaps we shall suggest, Hani Tanoi, this discussion between these two Tanoim, whether Tuma Hutra or Tuma D'chuya, Hani Tanoi is in line with another Machlekes Tanoim, who seem to be discussing the same halacha. This Sanya we learned in a Brayse Echadzeh whether the Kohen Gadol prior to Yom Kippur during his 7th day Yemei Prisha V'Echadzeh, and likewise the Kohen prior to his taking care of the Paraduma. We learned earlier that in both cases we apply Yemei Prisha to prepare them for the upcoming event. What else do we do during those 7 days? Mazen Olav Kol Shiva, throughout these 7 days we sprinkle on him the Ephah Paraduma, and we use an assortment. Mikol chatois shoyusham. Apparently they set aside a little bit of every paraduma. So at the end of the day we have a collection of all the paris brought throughout the Doros. Rambam says there were actually 9 paris adumos brought throughout the Doros. 10th one will be Mashiach's paraduma. So in any case, they use an assortment of meichatos from all the paris. This somehow added significance to the event, and they would be mazah on the kohen, whether kohen gadol before Yom Kippur or the kohen prior to being served the paraduma, and they would do it consistently on a daily basis throughout those 7 days. Divrei Meir. Rabbi Yossi Omer, there's no need to do it on a daily basis, because we know that really he only needs Hazah twice. If a person touched a mace, he's tummy for 7 days. On the 3rd day and on the 7th day, he needs to receive the Hazah of the Ephah Paraduma. Therefore says Rabbi Yossi, why go through the bother of doing it on a daily basis? Just do it on the 3rd and the 7th. Rabbi Yossi, ein mazn olav ela shlishi ushvi levad. What difference does it make when he became tummy? At the end of the day, this process will be matayr him. Suppose he became tummy 2 weeks ago, 10 days ago, it's irrelevant. Right now, during the 7th that he made Prisha, on the 3rd and on the 7th, do the Hazah, in which case he'll become Torah regardless of when he became Tummy. So Rabbi says, do it on a daily basis. We're soon going to try to understand why. Rabbi says, just do it on the 3rd and the 7th. Rabbi Chanin, he strikes a compromise. The Kohen before Paraduma, Mazen Olav Kol Shiva. In this case, we do it on a daily basis. However, before Yom Kippur, we don't go to that extent. We only do it on the 3rd and the 7th. So Rameh says daily basis, Rabbi says 3rd and 7th. Rabbi Chanin Kanakam says Kohen Gadol before Yom Kippur, 3rd and 7th. Kohen prior to Streif HaSapara, daily basis. My love shall not say Balkamifli. This is the basis of their machlokes. Rabbi Yosavar Tuma D'chuya. He holds that Tuma is overridden, it's overlooked, it's set aside. Out of necessity, we ignore it. when it involves a korban tzibur, but really, it presents a serious concern, and we try to avoid it at all costs, if possible. Therefore, we take the kohen here, and we maza efa paraduma on a daily basis, not just on the 3rd and the 7th, because really, it's a mitzvah to do it bizmana. We try to hit the right day. Maybe this is his 3rd, maybe that's his 3rd, maybe that's his 7th. So therefore, we go through all 7 days doing the hazah, as Rashi will explain, because we're trying to remove any remnant of tumah. We're trying to clear him of any tumah in the most optimal way, in the best possible way. Because tumah d'chuya b'tzibur, it's not something we want to get involved with. Therefore, Rabbi says, do the hazah on a daily basis. Rabbi says, savar tumah heter, or hutra hi b'tzibur. It's completely mutter. There's no concern whatsoever. Even if the kohen is tummy, he can do the avodah. In this case, what's the worst thing that can happen? Kegala was tummy? Okay, tumah hutra b'tzibur. Therefore, he says, you don't have to go to such great length. You don't have to be maza all 7 days. Just do 3rd and 7th, and you're okay, to account for any possible tumah. Let's take a look at Rashi inside. On the top of the Amud, echad zeh v'echad zeh, whether the kohen gadol of the Yom Kippurim or the kohen of Parah, shlishi u'shvi, we do the hazah on the 3rd and the 7th day, leprishasai, 3rd and 7th of his Yimei Prisha. This is Rabbi Yeshi speaking. Whereas Chanina says, it depends who. The kohen asoref, he needs it on a daily basis. The kohen gadol, 3rd and 7th. The kohen Mefarish time, the Gemara soon will explain. Continues Rashi. How do we understand this machlekes? The Rebbe savar t'chuya hi b'tzibur. Tumah is not something you want to get involved with, even when it's a korban tzibur. It's t'chuya. It's pushed away out of necessity. But really, we try to relieve him of any possible tumah. We want to make sure that he's tar u'ba'inan taharim ma'al yisa. And we need him to be really purely tar, on the highest level of tahara. V'hazah b'zmana. Therefore, we do hazah in its right time. Now, every one of these 7 days carries with it a potential, a suffix that perhaps this is his 3rd day from when he became tummy. We don't really know when he became tummy. We don't even know if he became tummy. But on the chance, on account of the fact that he did become tummy, we don't really know when. So we want to cover all possibilities. We want to address all scenarios. So the first day of the Yimei Prisha, we say, well, maybe this was his 3rd day. Maybe he became tummy 2 days ago. The same thing we'll say on the next day. Same thing on the next day. So every one of those 7 days carries with it a potential that this is really his 3rd day, his 7th day, his actual 3rd and 7th day from when he became tummy. We try to be mechaven to that. We try to be mekayim hazah bizmano. That's with respect to the first 3 days. What about the last 3 days of the Yimei Prisha? It can't be that this is his 3rd day of Tumah because he was in the Beis Hamidrash and he was in quarantine. He wasn't getting tummy there. So, for instance, the 5th day of his Yimei Prisha cannot possibly be his 3rd day of Tumah. The answer is, it could be his 7th. Maybe he became tummy 5 days ago, 6 days ago, 7 days ago, before he began his Prisha. Says Rashi, regarding the last 3 days of Yimei Prisha, we do Hazah, called YOMA v'YOMA, and every day equal to spooky, misfeka, shurishvi. There's always a chance this is the 7th day from when he actually became tummy. So to cover all possibilities, we do Hazah on a daily basis. So that's Rameir's Shita. Tumah is something we want to avoid, if possible. And we want to avoid it in the best possible way. Do Hazah, not just Hazah at random. We want to do it in a way that perhaps we can actually achieve Hazah Bizmana. Now we're going to see in the upcoming Gemara in greater detail regarding this concept of Bizmana, Tvilah Bizmana, Hazah Bizmana. Really the concept is like this. The Torah says a person became tummy, touching a mace. Suppose he became tummy on a Sunday. On his 3rd and on his 7th, he needs to have Hazah, which would be Tuesday, which would be Shabbos. This would be considered Hazah Bizmana, because it's actually his 3rd and 7th day from the moment of Tumah. But if he chooses, he can really get his hazah a year later. That would be considered shaloi b'zmana. It's a delayed hazah. It's not the actual 3rd and 7th of his tumah, but it could still work. So a year later he'll get an hazah, and 4 days later he'll get another hazah. Because the point is not just, it doesn't have to be 3rd and 7th dafka. The point is that the gap between the 1st and the 2nd phases of the hazah needs to be a 4-day gap, 4-day lapse. So a year later he can get his hazah on Sunday, and 4 days later he'll get his second hazah. Right? Sunday will be considered like his 3rd day, even though it's a year later, but that's fine. And then you have Monday, you have Tuesday, you have Wednesday, Thursday. Thursday will be his 2nd stage of hazah, as though it's his 7th day. The point is that there should be that 4-day gap between the 2 hazahs. But that's hazah shaloi b'zmana. It's a year later. It's not actually the 3rd and the 7th from his tumah. But in a case where he's meticulous about it, receiving the hazah on site, immediately following the tumah, such as in the example cited earlier, he got his tumah on Sunday and goes Tuesday to get his hazah, and again Shabbos, that's considered hazah b'zmana. The Muslim will bring a shita that it's a mitzvah to do hazah b'zmana, to become Torah at the first available moment. In any case, Rabbi Meir over here will say, since tumah is something you want to free yourself completely of, because tumah is something that disturbs even a carbon tzibur, tumah t'chuya b'tzibur. We override it, we overlook it, we push it away out of necessity, but if possible, we try to avoid it. So this kohen, during his Yemei Prisha, will undergo a procedure which will address any possible hazah needs that he may have now, and will do it in the most optimal way. We'll do it on a daily basis to perhaps try to address hazah b'zmana. Because maybe he got tummy 2 days before the Prisha. It's not the first day of the Prisha, actually his 3rd day, it's b'zmana. He'll be mekayim that din of hazah b'zmana, and 4 days later will be his 7th day. So that's why we do it in a way that we mekayim that concept. Continues Rashi, Rabbi Yehuda Kessler, hetehi b'tzibur. There's no reason to do it on a daily basis because tumah is mutar b'tzibur. There's really no need to do hazah, but it's a chumrah. We learn from milum. It's to sprinkle the dam there, which adds an element of tahara. Here as well, we want to add tahara to him, even though it's not really vital, it's not necessary, because even if he's tummy, he can still technically do a carbon tzibur. Tumah hutshu b'tzibur. There's no need for us to do all these steps to avoid tumah, but we add that tahara. We want to enhance his level of tahara, just like we find by milum. Therefore, says Rabbi Yossi, 3rd and the 7th suffices. We don't have to go to such great extent to address hazah b'zmana. Just do 3rd and 7th and you're okay. Continues the Gemara. So we found a machlokes tanoim, which we were looking for. Machlokes tanoim, whether tumah hutshu b'tzibur, that's Rabbi Yossi shita, tumah d'chuya b'tzibur, that's Rabbi Meir. Says the Gemara, how can you say this pshat? V'tizbra. Can you even suggest such a pshat? Rabbi Yossi holds tumah hutshu b'tzibur hazah klal lamali. Why would he even need to undergo a hazah process of the 3rd day and the 7th day? You want to have a mala, you want to have an enhancement, do hazah in a different way. 3rd and 7th indicates that you're concerned about tumah. You're following a hazah which is generally applied by tumas mace. You're following that procedure which indicates you're concerned about removal of tumah. That's not the case according to Rabbi Yossi. Tumah hutshu b'tzibur. Elo d'kuli alma hanitanoi sabri tumah d'chuya b'tzibur. Apparently all agree, Rabbi Yossi and Rabbi Meir, that tumah d'chuya b'tzibur. And we don't want to get involved with tumah, even when it comes to carbon tzibur. We want to do hazah to remove any possible tumah. So what then is the machlokes? Between Rabbi Meir says do it on a daily basis, and Rabbi Yossi says do it on the 3rd and the 7th. Machlokes as follows: Rabbi Meir savar amrinan tefillah b'zman mitzvah. He holds that when a person is tamei and he has the opportunity to be toivel, he must do so immediately. It's a mitzvah to be toivel b'zman. Rabbi Yossi savar lo yamrinan tefillah b'zman mitzvah. There's no mitzvah to be toivel b'zman. Sure, it's a mitzvah to be toivel, but not necessarily in its right time. If you choose to delay a week, that's okay. And likewise, when it comes to hazah, which is also a purification process, hazah of the efer par and the tmei meis, of course, Rameir, it must be done at its right time. That's a mitzvah. And therefore, we seek to address any possible situation, any possible combination of days. Perhaps this is your third, perhaps that's your third, perhaps this is your seventh, perhaps that. Therefore, we do it on a daily basis to cover all possibilities. Tefillah bizman mitzvah, hazah bizman mitzvah. But Rabbi Yossi says, as long as at the end of the day, or at the end of the days, I should say, at the end of the 7 days, he's free of tumah, because he had twice hazah, that's okay, even though it wasn't necessarily directed at the right zman. Says Rashi, 10 lines from the top. Tefillah bizman mitzvah. How do we know that? Dichsiv v'chita b'yom hashvi v'kibes begoda v'rochatz. The pasuk says he gets the azah on the 7th day, and then he washes, meaning he's toivel in mikveh. This is coming to teach us this seems to be an extra pasuk, and teaching us that the tefillah should take place immediately after the azah on the 7th day. Tefillah bizman mitzvah. V'azah nami makshinu l'tefillah. And likewise, the actual hazah, we connect it to tefillah just as tefillah bizman mitzvah, as indicated in this pasuk. Hazah bizman is also mitzvah. You want to try to endeavor at least to get it done on the right time, the 3rd and the 7th from his actual tumah without delay. Therefore, we do it on a daily basis. Shema Yom Yizmana, perhaps today is the appropriate time. That's Rav Meir. Rav Yossi says, Lo Yamrina on Tefillah Bezman Mitzvah. He uses the pasuk for something else. There's no din of Tefillah Bezman Mitzvah. Likewise, there's no din of Hazah Bezman Mitzvah. As long as he's toivel at the end of the day, or he has Hazah twice with a 4-day gap in between, it's okay, even if it's a month later. Says, is that so? V'sava Rabbi Yossi Lo Yamrina on Tefillah Bezman Mitzvah. So basically, hold it's not a mitzvah. Tanya, we have a brisa which indicates otherwise. If a person had a Shem Hashem written on his flesh, Rashi will bring a pasuk which teaches us that one may not erase Hashem's name. This fellow cannot rinse himself, shouldn't anoint himself, nor should he stand in an unclean place. Suppose he encountered a tefillah shel mitzvah, he has to go be toivel from tumah. What should he do to avoid erasing the Shem Hashem? Koirachel of gemi, he needs to wrap some type of grass on it, some type of band-aid, the toivel and his toivel. This way the water will get through. It's loosely wrapped, but the Shem Hashem won't get erased through the rush of water. He's covering the Shem Hashem, protecting it from the gush of water. Rabbi Yossi Omer, no. Yoyered v'tevel kedarka, if he has a tefillah shel mitzvah, just go down, be tevel, or vash lo yishafshif, as long as he doesn't scrub it. He doesn't have to go cover it with a gami. Why not? The Kaimelan, the Gemara Shabbos explains. What is the reason for this machlekes? To be tefillah bizmana mitzvah kamifleki. Machlekes actually revolves around this question, whether there's a mitzvah to do tefillah bizmana. Tanakama savar lo yamrinan on tefillah bizmana mitzvah. Tanakama maintains there's no such a thing. There's no tefillah bizmana mitzvah, and therefore we require you to obtain a gami to cover that shame before you're toivel. Before you expose yourself in front of the Shem Hashem, which is disrespectful, go get a gami and cover it. Now, although this requirement to go look for a gemi might actually delay matters. You might not find one, you might have to wait a day or two till he gets it, that's okay. We don't hold up tefillah bizmana mitzvah. So even if it delays, that's okay. For Rabbi Yossi says, you know what, don't be machayev him to get a gemi, because amrina tefillah bizmana mitzvah. It is a mitzvah to be tevel bizman. I'm concerned if we are machayev him to go find a gemi, he might not have access to one, and he might delay his tefillah as a result, in which case he's doing something inappropriate. He's not being makayim tefillah bizman. That's more important than covering the Shem Hashem. Let's take a look at Rashi. 15 lines from the top of the Amud. So this fellow had a Shem Hashem on his basar layirchatz shleim chakenu, so he doesn't erase it. V'azhora lebmeichik Hashem. There's a iser to do so. V'ibadem eshmam, you erase the name of the Avodah Zarah, destroy any remnant of the Avodah Zarah. V'samach lei, and right after the pasuk says lo yisasim ken Hashem lekeichem. You're not meant to erase Hashem's name. If he had a tefillah shel mitzvah, tefillah tahara, shetilo akasav olav, he has a chiyuv min atara to be tevel. What does he do? You cover it with a gemi, lahagan olav, v'pnei choyzek shetav amayim, to cover it from the gush of water. According to Tanakam, according to Rabbi Yossi, forget the gemi. Why? V'kaimelam sechel Shabbos more explains. The tefillah bezman a mitzvah pligi. Rabbi Yossi savar mitzvah. It's a mitzvah to be tevel bezman. Hilkach loy, hilkach dilma loy mashkach gemi. Perhaps he won't find the gemi. V'yasha tefillah sleimacher. And as a result, he will delay his tefillah to another day. We don't want that to happen. Therefore, we exempt him from this chiv of covering the Shem Hashem on his tevel. So what do we see from here? That Rabbi Yossi himself is the one that holds tefillah b'zman mitzvah. So how can you say that the other Rabbi Yossi and our sugi holds it's not a mitzvah? How can you suggest that the reason why Rabbi Yossi says you don't need to do the hazah on the kohen throughout all 7 days, third and seventh is enough because you don't need bizman? Here we have a Rabbi Yossi who holds otherwise. Tefillah bizman mitzvah. Continues the Gemara. Ella, you must say as follows: the kuli alma lan tanoi. According to all these tanoim, whether Rab Meir, whether Rabbi Yossi, Tanakam, everybody holds amrin on tefillah bizman mitzvah. When it comes to tefillah, which is learned from a pasuk, as Rashi explained, over there everybody holds tefillah bizman mitzvah. If you have the opportunity to be tevel, go ahead and do so immediately, without delay. The question is regarding hazah of the Efer Paradum. Is there a mitzvah there or not? And the machlok is by us and our sugya regarding hazah Efer Para on the kohen prior to Yom Kippur or prior to Paraduma. And the machlok is here as follows. So all agree that tefillah b'zman mitzvah, meaning Rabbi Meir, Rabbi Yossi. The question is regarding the hazah. Rabbi Meir savar makshinan hazah tefillah. We make a hekesh between hazah of the Efer Parah to tefillah, since as Rashi brought that pasuk, they're both connected in the same context. Pasuk says v'chita b'mashvi, which means the hazah of the Efer Parah, v'chibes b'gadav v'rachatz, which is referring to tefillah. So hazah and tefillah go together, and just as there is a chiv to do tefillah b'zmana, likewise hazah should preferably take place b'zmana. It's part of the purification process. Just as tefillah is required b'zmana, so is hazah. Rabbi Yossi Savar l'Makshin, he holds no, we don't connect the two things. Tefillah is b'zmana, but hazah, that's a preliminary stage for the tahara. Because you realize hazah doesn't complete the tahara. He needs to have tefillah following that. So, although tefillah needs to be done b'zmana to bring about the tahara immediately, but hazah, which is a hachana to the tefillah, so to speak, it's not the final stage of tahara. There is no mitzvah on that. There's no mitzvah for it to be b'zmana. Rabbi Yossi Savar lo makshin hazah l'tefillah. We don't connect the two. And that explains our discussion regarding the hazah of the kohen gadol. Rabbi Yossi says Savar makshinan. We connect hazah to tefillah, just as tefillah b'zman mitzvah, so is hazah, and therefore do it on a daily basis, in order to perhaps be mekayim hazah b'zmano. Just in case today's is third, tomorrow's is third, do it on a daily basis to cover all possibilities. But Rabbi Yossi says there's no mitzvah to do hazah b'zmano. Just do on the third and the seventh. This way, at the end of his Yemei Prisha, he's tar. So what if it's out of the zman? So what if it came delayed at a delayed time? Who cares? Hazah is not a mitzvah. Hazah b'zman is not a mitzvah. Says Rashi, 6 lines from the bottom. Rabbi Yossi holds loy makshinan hazah b'zman alav mitzvah v'cheksiv shlishi shvi. Now, although the pasuk speaks about doing hazah on the third and the seventh, that doesn't mean the third and the seventh from when he became tamei. It just means shel yakdim v'yashe ben hazah lazar ba'yamim. It means to say that the first time he gets hazah, it can't be less than 3 days from when he became tamei. So at a minimum, you have to have 3 days. And number 2, the time gap between hazah 1 and hazah 2 needs to be at least 4 days. But if he decided to wait a year, that's okay. So that explains Rabbi Meir, who says hazah on a daily basis, hazah b'zman mitzvah. And Rabbi Yossi says no concern because hazah b'zman alav mitzvah. We have one more Tana to explain. Rabbi Yehuda is Kana Kahanim, who said, depends. The Kohen before Yom Kippur gets Hazah on the 3rd and the 7th. The Kohen before Streifas Apara gets it on a daily basis. Rabbi Yehuda is Kana Kahanim, Imakish Hazah L'Tfilah, if he connects Hazah to Tfilah, Afilu Kohen b'Yom Kippur Nami. Then even the Kohen before Yom Kippur should have to have a Hazah on a daily basis. Hazah b'Zman HaMitzvah. Iloi Makish Hazah L'Tfilah, if he doesn't connect Hazah to Tfilah, Afilu Kohen HaServis Apara Nami Loi. And likewise, the Kohen that's burning the par shouldn't require daily Hazah. 3rd and 7th is enough. So why does he draw a line between the two? Why does he differentiate between the Kohen before Yom Kippur, who gets it on the 3rd and 7th, and the Kohen involved in the Paraduma, who gets it on a daily basis? Says the Gemara, Lo'olam le'makish, certainly Rechanina is not going to connect Hazah to Tfilah. And Minadin, there's no Hazah b'Zman HaMitzvah, and therefore Kohen before Yom Kippur does not need Hazah on a daily basis. When it comes to this Kohen taking care of the Paraduma, we apply an extra special mila, extra stringency. Rashi explains several times that, we're going to see soon on Amabez, that because they applied that leniency, remember they took the Kohen on the day of the Streif and they were matamim slightly, to Madrabban, and then they sent to mikveh, and he took care of the Parah in a full yom state to disprove the Tztukim's opinion, who held otherwise. So since they applied that apparent leniency, they wanted to undo any false impressions that a person might get and think that, well, the Parah is not so serious. So we do all types of extra stringencies, we apply all kinds of precautions and milas of tahara and purity to establish that the Paraduma is a serious event. And likewise here, we do Hazah on a daily basis to add that enhanced element of tahara, of Hazah b'Zmana, although really min halacha, it's not necessary. Okay, let's just summarize the Gemara up until this point. We learned that both the Kohen Gadol before Yom Kippur, the Kohen prior to Seifas Paraduma, receives the Hazah Mechatas throughout his Yimei Prisha. The Gemara concluded, it's because we hold Tumah Tchuya B'Tzibur, and we need to address any possible Tumah situation prior to Avodas Yom Kippur, prior to Avodas Apar. We have 3 shittas how to go about this Hazah. Rameh says, whether Yom Kippur, whether Paraduma, we do the Hazah throughout the 7 Yimei Prisha, but actually we're going to see soon on Mabez, we leave some days out. Shabbos you can't do Hazah, and also the 4th day, as the Gemara will explain. So regardless of whether it's Paraduma or Yom Kippur, the same process is followed, and that's because we hold Hazah b'Zman HaMitzvah, and we try to accommodate any possible combination of dates. We try to do the Hazah b'Zman. Rabbi Yehuda says, no, Ein Hazah b'Zman HaMitzvah, as long as you do it on the 3rd and the 7th, and you free him of any possible tumah, even if it's not done b'Zman, that's okay. Rabbi Yehuda holds Hazah b'Zman HaLav Mitzvah. For Yom Kippur, we do it on the 3rd and the 7th, and that's it. When it comes to Parah, it's a mala that we apply to the Parah, and therefore we do the Hazah throughout all 7 days. Regarding Halacha L'Maisa, Taisus brings that Rabbi Natam, Pasak, Tfilah B'Zmana, Lav Mitzvahi, and one of his rayas is that, look around. Harimasam B'chol Yoim, She'en Lecha Tevelas B'Zmana, Tfilah Shal Nida. We don't find that in Isha is Tevelas B'Zmana. So it means a raya from the fact that the Minhag Ha'olam is not to be concerned with this. Now, of course, this is different than the concept brought in the Poskim that a person should try to free himself from his tumah state at the earliest possible opportunity. There's an Indian to do that, not to have tumah rest on a person unnecessarily. So an isha is meant to free herself of her tumah snidas at the earliest possible opportunity, but it's not a mitzvah, it's not a chiyuv. In fact, if the husband is not around, we know the halacha that the isha would wait until he comes back, because there is no chiyuv to be tevel b'zmana, and this is in contrast with the shita that holds tevel b'zmana mitzvah, which would require her to be tevel whether or not her husband is around. That shita is Rabbi Natam, whereas Rabbi Chananel pasak that there is tevel b'zmana mitzvah, but Taisus negates his rayas, and he says actually the Lashon Al-Gemara, which seems to be indicating that Tfilah B'Zman Itzvah, because the Gemara says, Kuli Alma Lani Tanoy Amrina Tefillah B'Zman HaMitzvah, all agree Tefillah B'Zman HaMitzvah. The question is regarding Hazah. So he says, the Gemara seems to indicate that it is halacha. L'maisa Tefillah B'Zman HaMitzvah. So he says, now that's our Gemara, our Shittas here apparently hold that way. You have to say that Rabbi Yossi holds Tefillah B'Zman HaMitzvah. That's why he didn't want us to get involved with the Gemi, because it might delay matters. And Rameir as well holds Tefillah B'Zman HaMitzvah. That's why he says the Hazah has to be on a daily basis. So our Tanaim hold that way. But regarding halacha l'maisa, Rabbi Tam says Tefillah B'Zman Olav Mitzvah. Continues in more 2 lines from the bottom of Kaman Ozlah the Toner Rabban. We have a brisa, and we're wondering whose shita is reflected in that brisa. The brisa says Ein ben koyin haserves hapara. There's no difference between the koyin burning the para, or preparing to burn the para, the koyin gadol b'yom kippurim, and the koyin gadol anticipating the avodah of Yom Kippur. They both have a prisha period. Is there any difference? There's one difference. El shazeh prishasa l'kedusha. The question is the purpose, the motive. Koyin gadol's prishas is to attain levels of kedusha, as Rashi will explain for us. And as a result, we say, his brothers, the Kahanim, can interact with him, can touch him. There's no concern of them transmitting any tumah to him. We're not concerned that one of them will die. We discussed this the other day. They'll be careful from any tumah. The point is to give him kedusha. In fact, he learns that the Lishkas Parahedron, to which the Kohen Gadol was confined to, it was in the Azara. It was in the Makam Kedusha, because it was meant to contribute to his Kedusha status. That's the Kohen Gadol before Yom Kippur. V'zeh, the Kohen who tended to the Paraduma, who also went through a Prisha process, Prisha Salat Tahara. The purpose there was to maintain Tahara, to free him of any Tumah, to make sure that he's Tahara in preparation for the Paraduma. Ve'ein echa v'kahanim noigim. And as a result, we're machmer that nobody can interact with him. He's in solitary confinement. We don't want them to perhaps transmit any tumah to him. That this is an added enhancement, a maila, that we apply to Paraduma, as Rashi will explain. Let's see Rashi from the top of the Amid. Shezeh prishas l'kedusha. The Kohen Gadol's prishas was for the purpose of kedusha. L'kanas l'machna shchina, to prepare him for his future entry into machna shchina, to the avodah, kodesh hakadoshim. V'lo yehei liboy zach olav. So we put him in this room for a period of 7 days. He has some time on his own, and his heart is not haughty on him. This enables him to disengage from any sort of frivolity, any sort of interaction with other people who are not on his level. Because when he's on his own, he's mindful of his future, of his role, of his madrega, that we're counting on him to do the Avodah Yom Kippur. Shechala olav ema, a fear, an awe of kedusha descends upon him. Be badlasay min abrius, through his separation from the rest of the crowd. So that's the purpose of putting him in the Lishkas Parahedron, to contribute to that avodah of kedusha, to make him mindful, to make him cognizant of his future role, and help him rise in madrega of kedusha. Continues Rashi, when it comes to Paraduma, the point is to ensure his tahara. We mentioned this earlier. We apply a kula of somewhat. We matame him slightly on the day that he's going to bring the Paraduma, and then we tovel him so that he's at Tzvul Yaim to undo the tztukim's oppression. So since we apply that apparent leniency, we want to do all kinds of things to counteract that impression of leniency. To the extent we don't allow anybody to touch. So we have one difference, the motive, the purpose, and as a result of that, we say the Kohen Gadol can interact with others, as opposed to the Kohen prior to Paradum who cannot interact. Continues on the third line, Keman. This brisa, which tells us there's only one difference, whose shita is it following? Either Rameh or Rabbi Yossi, because Rameh held that when it comes to doing the Hazah, the Efa Para on the Kohanim, there's no difference between this or that. In both cases, before Yom Kippur and before Paraduma, it was a daily Hazah. Rabbi Yossi holds, on the other hand, was a twice weekly Hazar, third and the seventh, whether it's this kind of that kind. There's no difference. And that's why the Brisa did not mention it as a difference. Rabbi Chanina is kind of because according to his sheet, that when it comes to Para, it's done daily. When it comes to Yom Kippur, it's twice weekly. We have that difference as well. Why wouldn't the Brisa list that as a difference between the two Kayanim? Apparently the Brisa is not following his sheet. Interesting to note that Tosfos point out that the Lishka, the Parhedrin, where the Kohen Gadol was placed, was in the Makam Kaddish, in line with the Lashon HaGemara, Shezeh Prishasa LeKedusha, as opposed to the Kohen tending to the Paraduma, whose Lishka was outside the Azara proper, was in the Harabayis, because all he needed was to be secured from any possible interaction with Tumah. The Harabayis afforded that protection. Asks Tosfos Akasha, how could the Lishkas Parhedrin, where the Kohen Gadol resided for 7 days, be in the Azara? We know that one is not meant to sit in the Azara. Only the Malchei Beis David were allowed, but otherwise the person may not sit in the Azara, certainly not lie or sleep. So how can the Kohen Gadol be spending 7 days in Azara in a place where he can't sit or lie down? Tosfos has two terutzim. One teretz is that although the Lishka was in Azara proper, but it was open to the outside. It was pasuach l'chol to the Harabayis. So it was accessed from the Harabayis, so it's not Kaddish B'Kedushas Azara. That's the halacha. When it's pasuach l'chol, the interior has the same halacha as the outside to which it's open to where it's serving. It's serving the outside, because that is where he's open to. And therefore the pnim of this Lishka is not Kaddish, although it's in Azara proper. But halachically speaking, it's not Kaddish, and you can lie and sleep in there. But the fact that it was in the Hazara proper, it was located within the structure of the Hazara, apparently that was enough to give him that Kedusha effect, had that psychological effect on him. I'm in a Makam Kaddish, and I have to prepare myself accordingly. That's one teretz in Tosfos. Another teretz, he says, really it was built outside the Hazara, in the Harabayis, but it was open to the inside. So since he had full view of the Hazara from his room, that gave him that mindfulness, that awareness of Kedusha. In fact, Tosfos brings a Gemara that in this case you can actually eat korbanos in that room. We're speaking about kachi wouldn't need to be eaten in the Hazara. This room, although it's built outside the Hazara, if it's open to the Hazara, it's serving the Hazara, it's like an annex of the Hazara. So to some extent that has a Kedushas Hazara which extends into that room. Regarding achilas kachim, which are meant to be eaten in the Azara, they can be eaten in that room as well. But, Tosfos says, it's not full-fledged Azara. It doesn't have the same Kedusha of the Azara, and therefore you could sit and lie in there. So on the one hand, it's related to Kedusha's Azara. You can eat kachim in there, and the Kohen Gadol views himself as though he's in the Azara, which adds to his Kedusha mindset. But when it comes to practicalities, there's no restriction as to sitting and lying in there, because the Maisa, it's outside the Azara. So these are the two Mahalchim of Tosfos. Let's get back to the Gemara. Says the Gemara 4 lines from the top, Maskef lo Rabbi Yossi. So we learned earlier that the Kohen would receive Hazah, according to Rav Meir Shita, at least all 7 days. The Gemara earlier explained, it's based on the concept of Hazah b'zman mitzvah. We want to do it in its right time. And therefore we do it on a daily basis. Perhaps this is his third, this is his seventh. We want to cover all possibilities. Let's go through all 7 days and see how it works. Maskef lo Rabbi Yossi Rechanin, Avakash. Bishlam Rishon Shemashlishi. We understand why the Hazah takes place on the first day. Because perhaps this is his third day since he became Tummy. Now, just to simplify matters, let's just present it as Sunday to Shabbos. So the first day of Prisha was Sunday, and it stretches till Shabbos. Bishlam Rishon, we understand why Hazah took place on the first day on Sunday. Shamashlishi, perhaps this happens to be his third day. He got tummy 2 days ago, and this is his third day. We don't know when he got tummy. Perhaps it was 2 days before Prisha. So this is his third day, and we're Makayim the Hazah B'zmana on the third day. Sheni, we do Hazah the next day on Monday. Shamashlishi, perhaps likewise, this is his third day. Again, we don't know when he became tummy. Perhaps he became a tummy 2 days ago. And Monday is his third day. Shlishi, we do a hazah on the third day, meaning on Tuesday. Shemesh Shlishi, there as well. Maybe it's his third day of Tumah. Maybe he became tummy right before he did the Prisha. On Sunday, right before he came to his Shlish, he became tummy, in which case Tuesday is his third day. So that explains why hazah took place on Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. Let's skip over to Thursday. Thursday cannot be his third day of Tumah because once he was in the Beis HaMikdash, he certainly wasn't tummy. He certainly did not come into contact with new Tumah. It could only have happened before he came. So when we speak about Thursday, it cannot be his third day of Tumah, but it could be his seventh day. Chamishi, we do hazah on the fifth day on Thursday. Shemashvi, perhaps this is his seventh day of Tumah, which means that he actually touched a mace 2 days before he arrived in Beis HaMikdash. The first day of Prisha was his third day of Tumah, and he got hazah then. That was his hazah b'zmana on his third day since he got his Tumah. 4 days later, which is Thursday, he gets his second dose of Efa Para. This is his seventh day. Shishi, let's go on to the next day, Friday. We do hazah there as well. Shemashvi, perhaps this is his seventh day. Maybe he got Tumah a day later. So this is really his seventh day. Shvi, we do hazah on the seventh day as well. Shemashvi, perhaps this is his seventh day. Perhaps he got Tumah on the first day on Sunday, right before he came to Beis HaMikdash. So Tuesday was his third day, he got hazah then. And Shabbos was his seventh day. So we understand why hazah was required throughout the week. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, perhaps they're his third day. Thursday, Friday, Shabbos, perhaps they're his seventh day. So we count for all possibilities. But that leaves one day out. Wednesday is the odd man out. There's no purpose in hazah on Wednesday. Why? It can't be his third day, because once he reached the Beis HaMikdash, he no longer came into contact with Tumah. So Wednesday cannot be the third day of Tumah, nor is it the seventh day. Let's remember, hazah on the seventh only works if he had hazah on the third as well. It's a set, third and seventh. If Wednesday happens to be the seventh day from when he touched Tumah, it won't work. Because let's remember, he was outside the Beis HaMikdash at that point. And if that point of Tumah was 7 days ago, so let's count back 7 days. If Wednesday is the seventh, let's go back 7 days. He became tummy 3 days before the Prisha. He never had hazah on his third day. He was still outside the Beis HaMikdash at that point, prior to, but the day before Prisha. He never had his hazah on the third, in which case he can't do hazah on the seventh without the third. So there's no point in doing hazah on Wednesday. El Ravi Lamali hazah klal. Why does he need hazah on Wednesday? Lo b'shlishi ikal ispuke. We can't speculate that this is his third day of Tumah, because for the last 3 days he was in the Beis HaMikdash. He couldn't have become tummy then. V'lo b'shvi ikal ispuke. There's no point speculating that perhaps it's his seventh day since he became tummy. Meaning that this is the day that he requires the second dose of hazah, the hazah on the seventh. Because even if this happens to be the seventh day from when he became tummy, but he never got his first dose on his third day. It was still before he came to the Beis HaMikdash. So there's no point doing hazah on the seventh day out the third. So what's the point of doing hazah on a Wednesday? It can't be the third nor the seventh. Says according to you, hazah kol shiva mi'ika. Rabbi says he gets hazah throughout 7. Is that true? Literally 7 days? Well, kaimel, we know the halacha, the hazah shvus. Doing hazah on Shabbos is a drabbanan. One pshat is he might carry through the street. One pshat is it looks like he's fixing something, fixing somebody. He might go fix a kli. So it's a drabbanan. Ve'ena doichas haShabbos. It can't be done on Shabbos. So Shabbos is certainly out. Ela ma'is l'chamemar. So you must say shiva levar Shabbos. Although Rameir says he gets hazah for 7 days, he meant, of course, without Shabbos. You deduct Shabbos from the list. Hachanami shiva levar mishvi. Likewise, when we say shiva, of course, it means sans Wednesday. So you have to deduct Shabbos and Wednesday. There's no point in doing hazah on Wednesday. Continues Gemara, Amar Rav, Hilkach, if that's the case, that we can't do Hazah on Shabbos, and Wednesday is also an off day. Hilkach, Kohen Gadol b'Yom Kippurim, when we set up the Kohen Gadol for Yom Kippur, we have Perishim for 7 days, the Loi b'Dedan Tal Milsa, which is something not within our control. The calendar controls it. Ella b'Kviyah D'Yarcha Tal Milsa, depends on the Kviyas of the moon, meaning depends on the calendar. It's 7 days before Yom Kippur. So since it's calendar related, but we have to separate him starting on the 3rd day of Tishrei, 7 days before Yom Kippur. And whenever 3rd day of Tishrei falls out, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, it's irrelevant. We initiate the afresh on that day. We can't really manipulate it. We can't control the calendar. Even if it might result in him losing 2 days of Hazah. Wednesday will be out, and Shabbos will be out. But when it comes to this kohen preparing for the Sreifas HaParah, which is something that we can organize, we can set it up according to our preference. The B'didan Tali Milsa, it's within our control to initiate this Prisha on whichever day of the week we seem to think is better. Then, you know what we do? Prefer to do the Afrasha starting on Wednesday. Why? So that his 4th day of Prisha, the day that no Hazah is done in any case, no point doing Hazah on the 4th day, will fall out on Shabbos. Because if you initiate the Prisha on Wednesday, you have Wednesday, you have Thursday, Friday, Shabbos is his 4th day, which in any case, no Hazah will take place on that day, which is perfect. That fits with Shabbos. So only have to lose 1 day of Hazah. So we try to organize in that way. But when it comes to Kohen Gadol, which is calendar-oriented, it's not within our control to initiate his Prisha on this day or that. And therefore, sometimes will come out that from his 7 days of Hazah, he'll lose 2 days, Shabbos and the 4th day. Continues the Gemara, Lishkas Parhedrin, we took the Kohen Gadol, we placed him in this room, Lishkas Parhedrin, in the Beis HaMikdash. Tanya, Rabbi Yehuda, V'chi Lishkas Parhedrin Hoysa, Rabbi Yehuda asked a kasha. Is this how it was called? Lishkas Parhedrin? Lishkas Balvuti Hoysa. Wasn't it called a different name? Lishkas Balvuti, Rashi says Balvuti Asar, ministers. This was the presidential suite in the Beis HaMikdash. Why are we calling it Lishkas Parhedrin? Parhedrin is a lower level officer, inspector. Why are we downgrading the reference? Ella, says Rabbi Yehuda, he meant to know like this. There was some historical background here. Initially, when the Kohanim Gedolim were tzaddikim, people used to refer to the Kohen Gadol suite in a respectable way. This is a Lishkas Palvuti of the Sarim, of the Sar, the Kohen Gadol, who was held in very high regard. However, later on, when the generations degenerated, in order to earn that Kohen Gadol position, you had to pay off the king. It was given to the highest bidder. Due to the fact that they used to pay off the king to attain this position. Now, these Kohanim were not tzaddikim. In fact, many times they would pass away in the Kodesh HaKadoshim on Yom Kippur. They didn't make it through the year. So every 12 months, it was a new Kohen Gadol. And each one of these Kohen Gadolim who was out to spread his fame and glory would actually renovate that room anew. Would knock it down, rebuild it according to his taste, to spread his fame, to establish his shame, his name, his position. So this room was constantly being remodeled and rebuilt. Umachlif and Oisa, they would switch around this room, rebuild it, kol shnei b'asach every 12 months, an account and an honor of the new Kohen Gadol. Keparhedrin halolo, like these inspectors, shemachlif and Oisam kol shnei b'asach who are switched every 12 months. It's a very good lesson in democracy. Switch your ministers on a regular basis. This way they don't get too comfortable in their position. So every 12 months it was a practice to switch the ministers and appoint a new one in place of the old one. So these are the Parhedrin who would rotate on a yearly basis. And that's why they called the room Lishkas Parhedrin, because it was something that was rotated, so to speak. It was rebuilt on a yearly basis. So that's how this name Parhedrin stuck to it. Lishkas Parhedrin It's like the procedure applied to the officers and the ministers, inspectors who are switched on a yearly basis. Let's see Rashi. Right off to the left. They were Rishayim. They wouldn't survive the year. These are the Kohanim Gedolim. And they would appoint another Kohen instead. But every new Kohen that came along, he would knock down the Lishka, Boina, Binyanom, and Arishan, and build a nicer one. Would be called on his name, in which case this room was constantly in a state of construction, being revamped, refurnished, rebuilt every year. As these inspectors who are switched over on an annual basis. And as a result of that, they started calling it Lishkas Parhedrin because of this phenomenon. The Rashash had a different pshat in the Gemara, because it's really another girsa. Instead of Machlif and Oysa, they would rebuild the room, as Rashi explained. There's a girsa Machlif and Oysan, referring to the Kohanim Gedolim. They were rotated on it on an annual basis, because, as Rashi explained, they wouldn't survive the year. So every year there was a new Kohen Gadol. And they resembled the Parhedrin, the inspectors, who were appointed for a year-long tenure. So that's why they called it Lishkas Parhedrin. This Lishka was designated for the Kohen Gadol, which was an annual appointment, like these Parhedrin, who would be appointed on an annual basis. Okay, time for Riv Chazara. We began with a reference to the Machlekes about Tumah B'Tzibur. Is it Duchuya B'Tzibur? Is it Hutra B'Tzibur? We had a Machlekes Tanoim yesterday. The Gemara speculated, perhaps, this Machlekes is consistent with the Machlekes we're going to have today, between Rameir and Rabbi Yosi, regarding the Hazah or the Eif Paraduma, which was applied to the Kohen Gadol before Yom Kippur, the Kohen who took care of the Paraduma. Rameir says it was a daily basis for all 7 days of Prisha. Rabbi Yosi says only the 3rd and the 7th. The Gemara figured initially it's connected to Machlekes, whether it's Hutra B'Tzibur, so we're not so concerned about it, or Tchuy B'Tzibur, we're very concerned, want to do it properly. The Gemara concluded no. All agreed Tchuy B'Tzibur, and that's why even according to Rabbi Yosi, we have to do it on the 3rd and the 7th to account for a possible tumah. What then is the Machlekes? The Gemara concluded the Machlekes as follows. Rameir holds it's done on a daily basis because just as Tefillah b'Zman mitzvah, Hazah b'Zman mitzvah, we want to account for any possible Zmana. As the Gemara later on explained and went through all the days, that each day is a possible appropriate time for Hazah. It's perhaps the 3rd, perhaps the 7th, therefore we want to take that into account, and we do it throughout the 7 days. Of course, as we just concluded, Shabbos is not part of the equation. We don't do Hazah on Shabbos, and also Wednesday has no purpose. So those 2 days are left out. Rabbi Yosi holds Hazah b'Zman is not mitzvah, therefore just do it on the 3rd and the 7th and account for a possible tumah. Chines Kanakanim likewise holds Hazah b'Zman is lav mitzvah, and therefore by Yom Kippur all you need is the 3rd and the 7th. But when it comes to Paraduma, we add a Maila, and therefore we do it throughout the week. We learned that the Precious Kohen Gadol was to enhance his Kedusha. Regarding Precious Paraduma, was to safeguard his Tahara, and he had to keep away from other Kohanim. We learned that when it comes to Precious Yom Kippur, that's not up to us. So whenever it happens, even if it might result in him losing 2 days of Hazah, Shabbos and his 4th day. When it comes to Precious Paraduma, that's in our ability to prevent the recurring deduction. Therefore, we are mafreshim l'chatchila on Wednesday. This way, his 4th day will come out on Shabbos and only lose 1 day of Hazah. Initially, the Lishkas Parhedrin was called Lishkas Balvuti on account of the high-level occupant, the Kohen Gadol, who was a tzaddik. Later on, it was regarded as Lishkas Parhedrin, which is referring to the Pekidei Hamel, the low-level inspectors, which are appointed on an annual basis. And likewise, the Kohen Gadol was an annual appointment. Be well, and much hatzlacha to you.